important for all of us, and it's a vaccine EO. I'm delighted to be here in the Oval Office as our administration takes another historic step in our mission to make America healthy again. Today.
Brothers y brothercitas, Trump acaba de hacer algo histórico y acaba de reducir el número exagerado de 72 vacunas. Sí, oyeron bien, 72 vacunas que supuestamente se les tienen que poner a los bebés aquí en Estados Unidos, a nada más 11 que son las necesarias. Estas 11 son las necesarias, las otras 60 no lo son. O sea, güey, ya los chavitos, los bebés de ahora ya no parecen bebés, ya parecen alfileteros, güey. Agujas por todos lados, los hijos de su maíz. No se vale, brothers, está cañón. Y esta es otra de las cosas que Trump está haciendo bien. ¿Por qué? Porque, pues, brothers, o sea, la verdad te pones a analizar. Si has conocido a algún bebé que necesite vacunas, es exagerado el número de vacunas que les ponen. Y a la hora de la hora dices, güey, esta vacuna, ¿para qué? Después de que vimos lo de COVID y salieron tantas cosas tan horribles, brothers, que esa vacuna le ocasionó a mucha gente. ¿Tú crees que vamos a estar a gustos de que a nuestros futuros hijos o a los hijos de la gente vayan y les pongan 72 vacunas? No, güey, ni más. 11 las necesarias y no me estén jodiendo. Vean lo que dice Trump aquí, brothers, porque está haciendo algo histórico. Pero bueno, es más, antes de pasar a oírlo Trump, como lo que hace, esta es la diferencia entre Trump y los demócratas. Les digo demócratas precisamente por estas cosas. Chequen esto. Esta señora que está aquí firmando una orden ejecutiva es la gobernadora de Massachusetts, si no me equivoco, que pareciera como si estuviera firmando algo que protege a las mujeres, ¿no? Véanla. Y todas le celebran y le aplauden como foca. Le aplauden como foca a la señora. Bueno, pues esta señora, brothers, está firmando una orden ejecutiva para que las mujeres puedan abortar hasta los 9 meses. O sea, y vean a las focas ahí aplaudiendo ese tipo de monstruosidades. El que crea que esto es necesario, que una mujer pueda abortar hasta los 9 meses, o sea, eso ya es crueldad, eso es diabólico, eso ya es otra cosa, eso ya no es ay, pues era una célula y pues no era el momento, y pues es que era una célula y ni piernas ni brazos tenía. No, güey, aquí ya el bebé ya es un bebé y está a punto de nacer, acaba de firmar el permiso para desvivir al bebé a la hora del nacimiento. O sea, esas ya son jaladas, güey. Y por eso los demócratas dejaron de tener mi voto hace más de 10, 11 años, güey. Punto, se acabó. Yo no vuelvo a confiar en esos güeyes. Ahorita lo que le hacen a los niños, las indoctrinaciones en las escuelas, con lo de lo woke y todo eso, conmigo no vuela, brothers. Eso la verdad, conmigo nomás no vuela. Si contigo vuela, pues vuela, como diría Magneto, pero la verdad conmigo no. Vamos a ver lo que hace este hombre que todavía piensa como nuestros abuelos, como nuestros padres, que querían lo mejor para nosotros.
Well, thank you very much, and this is something very important for all of us, and it's a vaccine EO. I'm delighted to be here in the Oval Office as our administration takes another historic step in our mission to make America healthy again. Today, we're proud to officially announce the United States of America's gold standard childhood vaccination recommendations, and that has to do with many subjects, but including autism in particular. I want to thank the man who has done more than perhaps anyone else to bring about this real revolution, Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., my friend, and he's doing a fantastic job. I'm proud of you. Give me what a very powerful hand he is. Strong guy, by the way. Thanks as well to Director of the NIH, Jay Bhattacharya, Deputy Assistant to the President of Domestic Policy, Dr. Heidi Overton, our Maha moms, and including Jamie Franklin is with us today, a very special person, and also the medical experts and professionals who've worked very hard on getting this to happen, this day to come. For long and far too long, a long period of time, America's recommended more childhood vaccines than any peer nation. and even twice as many doses as some European countries, and even more than that. In many cases, we were requiring 72 jabs for our beautiful, healthy, lovely, delicate little children, including giving the hepatitis B shot to infants and newborns on top of many other vaccinations. The hepatitis B shouldn't be given until they're 14 or 15 years old. They were given early. Effective immediately, my administration is recognizing gold standard childhood vaccine recommendations for only 11 core vaccinations against the most serious and dangerous diseases, along with the MMR, which hopefully will be split up. You have the MMR, we want it in 3 separate vaccinations given at separate times. Together, there could be a possibility they're quite lethal, and separately, it looks like they are not at all lethal, but just very effective. So the MMR, we want to have separate visits, separate times. The vaccine being broken into 3 separate single doses, and vaccines being administered in separate visits. For example, at 1 year, you should have 5 separate visits for vaccines rather than getting them all in the same day. And I saw this early on, and I've seen proof of it, where they have a vaccination thing, looks like the size of a bottle of soda poured into a little child's body. And bad things happen in too many cases, because this is an explosion, this is an epidemic. So at year 1, you should have 5 separate visits for vaccines rather than giving them all in the same day. Very importantly, vaccinations for hepatitis B, COVID-19, and influenza, among others, are no longer recommended for all children. In addition, this executive order directs the Attorney General to advance legal challenges against states that violate children's rights to religious or medical vaccination exemptions, for the exemptions. Other countries with high vaccination rates without mandates for school. Now, what we do is, other countries have very high vaccination rates, and they have not had, and they don't have, it's without mandates for school. Parents can still choose to give their children all of the vaccinations if they wish. It's up to the parents. We're making recommendations that are strong, but it's up to the parents if they wish, and they will be covered by insurance. However, this updated recommendation finally aligns the United States with other advanced and developed nations around the world. More importantly, it aligns us with common sense and knowledge. Decades ago, children received only a small fraction of the vaccines required today. In those times, people were much healthier, and of course, the high rates of autism now observed did not exist. So there's a reason for such epidemic rates of autism. And we're going to bring it back to much closer to where it was. Well, we do not know exactly what the cause is with respect to autism. It is essential to our research efforts that we have the very best vaccine recommendations in the entire world. So we're reducing them. We're changing it to visits over a period of a year and a half. So they get 20% of what they would have gotten in one big shot. A big shot like the size of a large glass of something. This announcement is a major victory for parents' rights, for religious and constitutional rights, and for the gold standard science, and we will continue to do the research and update the recommendations as we learn more. And I think you're going to see some amazing results of breaking it up. It's not only that you're doing fewer vaccines or jabs, as they say, but you're doing them in a series of visits to the doctor, much smaller amounts. To ensure Americans benefit from these recommendations, my administration is fully committed to using every tool at our disposal, including a review of potential funding and finding. Frankly, we're doing funding and we're doing findings. And the findings will be announced almost immediately as we gain some strong surety. So now I'd like to have Bobby say a few words, followed by Jay, Heidi, and Jamie, and then I'll sign the executive order, which I'm very excited about, because I came in and I said, I want to find what's going on with autism. It's many, many times what it used to be years ago, and it gets progressively worse, and we add progressively more and more vaccines. So in a nutshell, and you can see it through this, we're breaking up the vaccines, and we're breaking them up into time periods. okay? Not so complicated. And we think we're going to have a tremendous result from doing that. Very simply, large amounts of vaccine, large amounts of, like vats of vaccine, are currently pumped into your child's body. And we're doing 20% of that at each visit. And we'll let time elapse between visits so the body can handle this massive amount of fluid being pumped in. I think it's going to make a big difference. You know, there are some groups that have virtually no problem with autism. And I have to say this, they're groups that aren't big into the world of vaccines. So there's something wrong when we see record numbers all the time, every year for years and years. Every year gets higher, higher, higher autism. And we think we have a very good recommendation, and a lot of good things are happening. We're going to be releasing some very detailed paper. Here's another one, European countries versus the United States. Look at that. These are high-level, very medically powerful European countries. You see the top, that little chart says a lot, but that's the difference. So with that, I'd like to have Bobby say a few words, please, and then we'll go to the others.